Welcome.
Thank you.
My name is Shuyler Mao, and welcome to you, listeners, to the Nick's Boots from Start to Finish podcast. We are here to interview Sergy Shuyler. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
It's good enough.
Is it good enough? Okay. All right. Okay. And Sergy is our production manager. He basically runs the production shop where all the great boots are made. Sergy, how long have you worked here?
I started 2001, I believe, so 22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And you started I think you just started like most people do and worked your way up to lasting.
Yeah.
Stitching.
I started with the hand sewing. That was my position in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. And you were a boot maker in Ukraine.
Yes.
And had your own boot shop, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't big or something like really shop. It was like a few people, like, I don't know, one cutter, one sewer, one boot maker, and myself kind of. So it was like, yeah, we used to make like 10 boots a day or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And boot making is definitely a vocation over there, correct?
Yeah. Especially like my hometown. I don't know why, but for some reason, like.
What was the hometown?
The Kharkiv.
Kharkiv. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was like a lot of people I personally know was like trying to open some. At that point, it was like 90s when Soviet Union fell apart, and it was like a mess, and people was trying, figure out what to do, how to make a living. And for some reason, that was kind of a good, I don't know. So like my friend told me like, hey, what do you think about like starting doing that? It's like, oh yeah, sure.
Were there schools for boot making?
Yeah, it was like a couple of schools in my hometown. So I went one of those colleges. Yeah, it was actually that huge factory was in the hometown. They pay for your education, but you sign the contract. You need to work for them like 2 years after.
Got it.
You don't pay for the college, but
you did that.
And I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, when you went off on your own, what kind of shoes or footwear were you making?
It was kind of like a short, like I would say like 5-6 inches boots. It wasn't like as heavy duty what we do here. It was kind of like a medium, light, whatever. Not even close, like not even 8 iron leather.
Sure.
But it was kind of like a mostly men's and women's kind of boots, shoes, yeah.
Okay, so you started here in 2001, and now you're production manager. Tell me about that experience. How did that happen? How were you promoted so quickly? Over the years.
I don't think it was quickly. I mean, I knew a lot about boot making, shoe making, but when I started, I was just like a regular hand sewer. I was hand sewing for the first year or so. Then I kind of moved to the lasting, mostly. And then mostly when Steve bought a company, and I was trying to change.
Yep, and Steve being my dad. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is when I actually got promoted, because I think. So when like Frank kind of left the company and Mike resigned, the guy who used to be supervisor.
Yep.
So it was like I was offered the position to kind of become a supervisor role. That's how that happened. Yeah.
Got it.
I think I don't remember what year Steve bought the company.
2013.
2013. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's been
I kind of used to be like a lead of department,
Yep.
like kind of like Andrew is doing in the Austin department.
Yep.
But then, yeah.
What do you do here exactly?
I mean, doing pretty much managing the whole production.
Yep.
Training people partially. Lately, not as much. Like before, I used to train more people. Lately, we got experienced people who can train other people. So mostly make sure the production goes smooth. Make sure we're getting all the materials. I'm responsible to get all the materials.
You do our purchasing.
All
too.
the purchasing, yes, on me, and pretty much the whole managing the production, hiring people, training people. I don't know. Whatever it takes to manage production. Yeah.
It's a lot to manage, and you do a great job at it. I don't know. Can you tell us about a typical day, at Nick's here for you?
Kind of depends on the day. If I have a lot of purchasing stuff, then I can spend the whole day pretty much, trying to call, email vendors, big vendors like Seidel, Vibram. Some days it's not as much. Some days, like, usually I still physically work like half a day at least. Like some days I'll just do the whole day, just hands-on making boots. Some days depends, like, what we do, like have a bunch of interviews or a lot of purchases need to be made. Yeah, but kind of Yeah.
I know we're trying to move away from that. I think we've done a little bit, but definitely need to come a little farther. How did you start working here?
So when I moved to Spokane in 2000, I believe, it was I think it was September 14th when I arrived here. And then the guy who used to work here, so I think him and my sister, they go to the same church or something. And they said, oh, this is my brother. He know how to make boots and stuff. He was in the college and factory. And this guy would kind of introduced us. And he kind of invited me, oh, we're actually hiring if you're interested. So you can. I stopped by actually the first time, and I look, it's I'm not sure I want to do this again. I was like, maybe I'll try something else.
And just to be clear, we were at a different location then, right?
Yeah, it was a different location. The place was really, I don't know, very dirty and I don't know, dark and kind of I was like, really? Doesn't look like some kind of a boot shop in US. In America, I was expecting something big, and was some kind of, I don't know. So I kind of didn't like the first thing where I see, and I got hired for, I forgot the name. I think it was Pyrotech.
Okay.
They used to be,
yeah. We hire a decent amount of sewers from there, don't we?
Yeah, Maria came from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. After 3 months, there was no orders, so they laid me off, and I called that guy. Said, "You guys still need me? Because I need a job."
Sure.
Yeah, we actually lost hand sewer, so if you will, you can come Monday. So I came, and that's how it all started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spokane has a pretty big Ukrainian community, don't they?
Yes, especially lately when the war started, so many Ukrainians kind of came over. Yeah.
But maybe tell me about that, the support you got, meeting people, that sort of thing. Was it a hard transition for you? Was it made a little bit easier because there were?
I mean, that time or
well, maybe when you came over,
wasn't as many people that time.
Okay.
But it was I have few relatives, my uncles, my aunts. They actually got here end of 80s, I believe. I don't know even how they got here.
Okay.
But then kind of they offer oh, if you guys interested, because it was a mess after
Sure.
the economy was so bad, you didn't know what to do, and they said oh, we can actually invite you if you want to. It's yeah, sure. So they kind of helped me with all the paperwork and stuff. And I mean, mostly family kind of helped me, especially my older sister. She's helped us a lot, meet people, do the paperwork. We have zero English and stuff. So we go to ESL.
Okay.
Yeah. Study English and stuff like that. Got a job. That first job, I think we started 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So get up really early, go to work. After work, go to school. Study English, go back. It was kind of hard. The first year was pretty hard. Yeah.
I bet. How long before you felt comfortable with just maybe day-to-day interactions with English?
I mean, basic at work was kind of okay, but as soon as you need, let's say, call insurance company or whatever, go to dealership, fix the car or something, I was freaking out, ask my relatives to make a call or go with me, and kind of, it was actually probably at least a couple of years before I was start kind of feel a little comfortable, go somewhere by myself, and yeah.
And how old were you when you
I believe I was 24.
24. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anyone else at Nix that's still here?
Alex.
Alex. Okay.
Alex, and he was the one who started before me.
Okay.
So Alex is the only one who was here before me.
Okay.
I mean, Efim's still here, but he was a couple of years after me.
Okay. What about Mike?
Ludmila. Mike was here, but then he left, and then he came back after 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike was here. Yeah, definitely. I forgot about Mike.
What do you like about what you do?
I remember my first feeling when I first built the boots by myself in Ukraine. I was actually in my apartment. First time I hand-lasted my boot, I did put the sole on, I hand-stitched. I did everything, and I was like, oh man, this looks actually pretty good, and nice, good quality kind of shoes. So what we do here, I actually really like the quality we do. It's not some cheap, whatever. Yeah. It's really, really high, heavy duty. And when people talk about oh, the boots is awesome, because it's I kind of, I don't know, because I kind of part of that. So we built something really, really good quality. People kind of
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the challenges? Maybe just, I don't know, it could be boot making in general, or boot making here, what are some of the challenges or obstacles that make it hard?
As a bootmaker or as a manager in the production?
I would talk about maybe specifically with the boot, with the boot themselves. Like, what's hard about what we do?
Kind of requires skills to be. Not everybody can build boots, so the hard part, kind of figure out that, I don't know, especially like hand lasting. I would say it's one of the probably the hardest parts in boot making. So to deal with that thick, super thick leather, and stuff, that's pretty much. Yeah, I would say the hardest kind
So
of.
hand lasting.
Hand lasting, yeah. I mean, bottoming as well, like, some physical jobs, but hand lasting, I think it's a little more, I don't know, just kind of skills you need to have,
Yeah, how long do you think it takes for somebody to become really
Depends
good
on the person. Like, some people never figure out that, like, I train them for like weeks and weeks, and after like finally, like, it's impossible to train that person. One guy actually, I showed him how to last the boots. Next, in a couple of days, he was making like almost 10 boots a day or something. But that was like something like really, really unusual. Usually it's like probably a month or something. To get on the speed, maybe like month or a little 2 months or something, depends on the person. But one guy, like, he really surprised me. I was like, didn't expect that. He was like super handy. He, like, in the day, he was pretty much doing the numbers. Yeah, but it was like something really, really.
Because some of these guys, it can take years, till they're actually making.
I mean,
as
to
many
do
as,
a
like, an
lot of
experienced
things,
person.
it takes, the last in itself, probably like, I don't know, a couple months to get in the speed, but to figure out everything, a lot longer.
Okay. What leather do you like working with?
Obviously the soft ones.
Yeah?
The new Bison is awesome. It's so soft
Okay.
and stretchy and easy. Like, you don't have to deal with the boardy, super, like Builder Pros, let's say, or like all the Max Support leathers. They're really, really thick and heavy, hard to work with, but it's a work boot, so they need to be.
But some of that kind of is a trade-off, right, in other areas of the boot making process? Because sometimes when the leather is really soft, it can be hard to, like, stitch sometimes. I know, like, some of those issues come up.
Yeah. As for the last, I'm just picking, like, if I'm
yeah.
actually building the boot, I like the soft one. But if it's go to stitching, it's a different problem. So
Yeah. So would you say those really thick, boardier? What's your least favorite? Is it the Max Supports,
probably
or is it the Wicked and Craig?
like Wicked and Craig double, stuff that,
Yeah. Is that because it's so stiff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you think is something that you do that is maybe not well understood or overlooked? So one example might be like, so Nate Johnson was on here, and he mentioned that sometimes when people see, like, he does cutting and they call it like cutting out cookies, and he hates that because it's actually it's very complicated, right? And like there's a lot that goes into judging like the vamp and how that intersects with the quarters and the various portions of the boot. Is there anything like that, and maybe not specifically like things you hear as you're working, but do you think things that maybe are underappreciated or maybe not seen? I think some people do just take footwear for granted,
If me personally, some days, like when we was COVID hit and stuff, when we were like short staffed and problems with the vendors, like not getting stuff, and like some days I feel like I'm doing 3 people's job in the day. Like, I start like sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning because we're like short staff. I need to do a lot of wet lasting by myself, then bunch of orders, and I feel like, when I'm out, the guy who's doing my work, so that's pretty much what he's doing. He's wet last 65 boots a day, let's say. And when one of the days, like, I feel I'm doing everything he's doing, on top of that, I need to manage the whole production, like, sometimes I feel it's like a little too much, especially when we short-staffed, kind of. It's not like a boot making, I would say, but I don't know.
So just looking back on like your boot making journey, you had your own shop, obviously you went through the educational experience, and then kind of working your way up here. What do you find most rewarding about that whole journey or that process that you've gone through? Like you think back to yourself when you're like 18, 19, going into school. Did you ever think you'd end up in the U.S. and
No, I never even thought about it.
running a pretty good sized operation?
I mean, yes, of course. Like now, when I look back, it's like, oh, it all kind of all worth it. I have a lot of experience. Went to the college, used to work with a shoe factory, work like my small shop and stuff. Now with all that experience, when I got here, like okay, I feel like I actually know a lot, and I can show people what to do, how to do that, and that kind of helped me to get to the position I am like right now. So that's probably I don't know.
One of the things I love about you is that you're never kind of resting on your laurels. You're always kind of pushing yourself to get better. Do you ever have a hard time celebrating success of your own?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you're kind of excited about something, but I don't know, you kind of feel, and especially sometimes I feel my English is not good enough, and something like, and I'm trying to, do my best. I don't know, and like sometimes it's kind of hard to celebrate because I feel like I'm still not good enough. I need to get more better, like in English, let's say, or how to manage people, how to deal with people, how to, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's important though. It's like, obviously here we're always trying to like get better. And I think that's kind of a core value of ours, but I struggle with this too. It's like, we've actually done a lot, and it's important to kind of like recognize that internally, at least for ourselves. So, well, I'll just say thank you for everything you've done here, man. What's different between handmade boots versus mass-produced ones, in your opinion?
Again, the quality. When you do like that the shoe factory I used to work, this was like a conveyor belt factory. Was like thousands of people, and it's like nobody really care about I mean, you need to go fast, otherwise you're gonna get behind and you get in in trouble. Like here, when you do handmade, you can pay attention. I don't know. I think it's all about the quality, and some people like really appreciate actually handmade, not just machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any difference in the materials typically?
This versus I mean the thickness of the leather, the durability. Yeah. When the first time I got to the Knicks boots and I took the boots, I was like, I never seen anything that heavy duty and that what we used to do, it was not even close. It was like regular. I probably can last those some shoes by hand without even pliers. Like when I got here and I started lasting the first boot, I was like, wow, how I'm gonna do that? I was like surprised. It took me a couple of days to to adjust. But yeah.
What do you like doing outside of work, Serge?
Lately, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I have a pretty big family, so we like on the weekends usually we get together, playing volleyball, playing the spike ball. Lately, it was like big thing in our family.
Okay.
So like every weekend we go like spike ball.
Cool.
Go
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
lake or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any trips coming up?
Not really. Like
I know
lately
you
we
like
have.
you like to travel.
Yes. So
But,
I'd like to draw,
yeah.
but yeah. When you have that big family, what I noticed is pretty much somebody's birthday like every other weekend. Like I have 3 boys, so the first one beginning of June, the second one like end of the June, and the oldest one is like mid of July. So it's like every 2-3 weeks we have a birthday party. Then it's like somebody's else, and it's like all year, like all pretty much the whole year. You just every other weekend to go to somebody's birthday or something.
How old are your boys? You're kind of in the middle, right? There,
My
right?
oldest one is just turned 15 on this Monday.
Yep.
And then my second one, he's 13 and 10 years old, the third one.
Okay. Have you thought about, do they have any idea what they're going to do or?
Not yet. My oldest one, he started thinking about, and I actually was surprised. He asked us to buy him a book about how to get better your financial life and
Okay.
stuff. So
Okay.
he actually, yesterday he was reading that book. I was like, oh, wow. And he's like really smart, and he's really like the chess game. So he actually played the chess whatever online.
Yeah.
So and he got pretty high level. Like he's on 1,000 something, and people started like 20 level. So he got to like 1,100 now or something. So he's like really, really like that kind of
Can think
brain
ahead.
thinking stuff. Like so, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe like I don't know what kind of.
Cool.
He kind of like maybe engineering or something, but it gotta be probably definitely something. Use your brain,
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What would be something that I or anyone would be surprised to learn about you?
Most people who I met here and they like ask me something, most people was surprised. I was actually a worship band leader for like over 20 years.
A band leader.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I finished music school in Ukraine for like 7 years. I played cello. And then I was in the band in Ukraine. And then when I got here, like people noticed I can do some stuff. They offer me a position to be like a lead of the band.
Are you still playing?
Not anymore. I quit kind of like probably 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
Because I feel it was like I did that for many, many years. Like even here in the US, it was like 18 and a half years. And just some points like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, but in general, I think it was like totally, probably like over 25 years total kind of band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still play for fun?
No.
No. Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually like, really? You was like, and that probably most people surprised. Like I was actually in the band. Yeah.
What are 3 pieces of advice you would give yourself when you were younger?
Probably go for higher education, not just some low-level college, but yeah, like right now I can see like, yeah, get the best education you possibly can get. The second one, probably don't be like lazy when you have something, just go for it, especially when you're younger. You have like different level of energy. Like the older you get, I like right now I feel I don't get that energy anymore. Like, some stuff I would like to do, like I'm probably not gonna be able to do because I don't feel that energy anymore. So, but when you're younger, if you want to go for something like start a business or something, go for it. But while you have that energy, kind of. A third one, I'm not sure.
What do you hope to see from Nix in the next 5 years?
To get better as a factory now, because I feel like we passed that point. We used to be like a shop, like a bootmaking shop. Now we're not shop anymore, but we get into like a factory size, but still not there yet. So maybe with the more organized kind of structure, like a factory. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
maybe I'm not explaining it.
No. I think you're right. Like we're definitely a factory now. We don't do as much as we used to do in terms of the kind of one-off stuff.
Yeah.
And so how do we scale? And
I mean, it's from my point of managing, kind of.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. What would you say is the most important thing to have that you look for in a new employee, in a new bootmaker?
If of course you don't know how to build the boots, that's we will train you.
Sure.
But it should be like I don't know, nice.
Willingness to learn.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And kind of friendly to other people. Like nobody wants to work with some mad, angry people all the time, and
Yeah. What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years, professionally?
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, now I started that program,
Yep.
the Vistage, so I'm trying to get better understanding people, how to manage people, how to communicate with the people. I mean, like I said, I used to have my small company, but it was like a couple employees. I never used to manage that many people, so I don't have any education for the managing. So I hope that's going to help me to be a better manager, like to be a better, I don't know, higher level understanding the managing in general. And yeah, that's pretty much it probably.
Okay. Well, Serge, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate the candor and for sharing your knowledge. Listeners, thank you so much for standing by and making it this far. Please do leave us a review and a rating so we can get out to as many people as possible. Thanks so much for your time.
Sure.
And,
thank you.
Thanks for being here, man.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.